It's on your page.
I'm gonna share it right now.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. What's up, everybody? Turn this volume down. What's going on, everybody? Do me a favor. I've got my son on with me tonight. You looking at T1, T2. It was a song or something you want to open up with. What? Yummies Cole. What's up, love? Tina White McPherson. Good evening. Donna Vaughn.
Miss Donna,
Yeah.
how are you? One of my childhood favorites. Like literally the sweetest lady I've probably ever met in my life. How are you?
Monique Johnson. Cassandra Threets. Thomas. Morgan. Nikki.
Don't mess up these people's names now.
No, I got them.
Take your time.
I got them. Trust me. I got them. We're going to get them hooked up here.
How's everybody doing today?
Hold that for me. Please. Don't want to do no work. I got to do everything. Yeah. There we go. That's a little, here we go. My man. So, Tasha Dickerson, what up? Kelvin Postel Jr., good to see you, man. Tracy Nichelle, hi there, welcome to Terrence Pickett Live. Tasha Renee, what's going on? So, if I miss your name, it's only because Facebook didn't show me. Jazzy Bob, oh, she come on here and say, I miss you.
I miss you too, Jazzy.
Oh,
I need to see you this week.
The shade is real. Okay, Jazzy.
You see me with the hat. I'm looking like what I've been through.
Okay, Jazz, that's what we doing? Cool. All right.
She look out.
Yeah, I need to get on that schedule. I been cutting my own hair the last 6, 7 months, 8 months. Amp the pen. That's your Uncle Amp. What up, bro? There we go. I miss you too, Terrence. Thank you, Jazz. I should have been first, but I won't be petty. Jazzy Barber, love you, miss you too.
That entitlement.
So everybody popping on, hollering at you first. I mean, what? Like Misha.
Auntie.
That's what we doing?
Auntie.
I'm the real Terrence.
I mean, you know.
I was here first.
Every generation just take it a little step further.
Monica, what up? She say, Dad is clean though. Hey. Monica, you're going to have to share your food. Jan Tate, what's going on? Jazz Barber told me we sure won't be petty. So, just to kind of ease the tension up, you know, as much as we can. Some of this is not in our hands. Some of this is not in our control. But we wanted to get on because I wanted to have I want to have a serious conversation, but I think I need to have a conversation that is necessary. You know, people of faith are, in some regard, if you ask me, in denial. We believe because faith is involved that execution is impossible.
Yeah.
George Floyd is somebody's son. George Floyd is me. George Floyd is you. And there has to be a balance. Monica say, hey, handsome son.
Hey, how are you?
Monica the homie. That's the little sis. There has to be a balance. There has to be an understanding that faith does not exclude adversity. In fact, faith makes you a target.
Literally. That's good.
It makes you a target. So every day I live, this is my only son. And there are days, hey, I speak the word, I pray, do all those good things, I confess the right things over him. Have since he was born. Our relationship has changed over the years. As a father, when he was young, I talked down to him, and that's not to be condescending. It's just that we weren't shoulder to shoulder. He hadn't lived long enough. I was raising him, so I tried to promote certain things, tried to instill in him certain principles. I made sure he had knowledge. I kept him exposed to multiracial climates. Everything that we did, his mom and I, we did it with the best schools in mind to make sure that they were in an environment where they could see different cultures, experience different ethnicities. Because as a black man, I knew he would be targeted and hated. I did not allow his mom to do certain things. As a boy, I made him tough. At times I was probably too tough, but it was to make him tough, because my thing was, I knew what it meant to be black in America. He did not. So there were certain things that I had to do, certain things I had to implement. There was a certain toughness that I had to give him, because I wasn't going to raise a soft boy. Wasn't going to do it. And
it was definitely necessary. Definitely necessary. A lot of the wisdom and insight and just knowledge about how to move, like, it came from me having to think at home.
Talk about that. You said it came from you having to think at home. What does that mean? What does that look like? If someone wasn't raised in your home and you make a statement like that, unpack it so they can understand it in a practical manner.
Well, in a sense, growing up, like, your parents or who your legal guardian or whatever, they are the law. And while punishment and everything isn't necessarily like life or death or like a sentence or like judgment to like real, I guess a real radical punishment, is not like that. But the principle is the same. You when you don't want something to happen, you think about the decisions you make. When you don't want to get chastised, when you want to stay out the way, like when I'm reading the room and I see he done had a bad day, I might, you know what I'm saying, I might not be as joking and in his face, or you know what I'm saying, as I normally would. So, I might not say certain things.
So I think this is good. That's a great point you make up, and I want to kind of sit there for a second. So it's no secret I'm moody, and when you were growing up, I'm gonna give my side, and you be honest about your side.
Mm-hmm.
I tried not to let them see those bad sides unless they were cutting up, him and his sister. And of course, I was harder on him than I was his sister, because in my mind, she's a girl. You said you learned how to navigate in the house based on the mood that I was in.
Yeah.
What were some of the signs to tell of the mood? Was I loud or angry? Did I look angry? Was I short? How could you sense what mood I was in?
God honest truth, I really can't even give you like a sure answer for that because it's different every time. Like sometimes you just kind of, I guess it's like an innate, like I guess sense or intuition or something you call it. Sometimes you know like, dang, today is just not the day. Let me walk across the street. Let me walk across the street. I ain't gonna walk directly. And and I think that same principle growing up with, and like I said, it wasn't like I was abused or nothing. It's just like sometimes you just don't want to be yelled at or feel like you aggravated somebody. So it's just kind of growing up with that dynamic, and I use that even with friends or like jobs I had in the workforce.
So do you think I gave you? Did I give you everything you wanted?
No, definitely not.
Did I give you everything you asked for?
No, definitely not. There's a lot of things I would have liked to have. But that's not saying I'm not saying I went without. Man, I didn't have like a great childhood. But
did I?
I'm just saying.
And when I say I
don't believe I'm spoiled.
So you know.
I don't believe I'm spoiled.
Okay. And I think I need to.
I work hard to spoil myself.
I need to unpack this part. His mom and I have two total different styles of parenting. Am I correct?
Definitely.
Okay. So his mom is more maternal, very compassionate, has a high level of tolerance. By the time, if she explodes on you, you deserve it. Am I right?
Yeah, for the most part. For the most part.
Yeah. Because she don't just pop off.
Definitely. But sometimes the popping off ain't because of the person she's popping off on. And that's with any situation.
Right.
So, a lot of people got to realize sometimes at the end of the day, you catch hell from somebody else's mistake and bad decision. And, it's not always on you.
But when we're talking about the things that directly affected you, and that did directly affect you, but our parenting styles were totally different. I didn't take no crap. I was the disciplinarian. I was the one. I pull out the belt, pull out the whip. I have a loud voice, and
macho man.
And sometimes I would shatter a person's. Hear me roar. I had the ability to shatter a person's train of thought, especially as kids, just by raising my voice. And one of the things that I tried to prepare him for was the day that we see in America today. What we are seeing here, what we are experiencing now. And I want to say this. This is why white pastors, white leaders, all the white people that are saying they're speaking out, it's kind of like, yeah, we need your voice and your hands on this, but this ain't new.
Yeah, we want to see a change.
We want to see a change.
Right.
We don't want you just getting on social media.
Yeah, man.
But I had a job and a responsibility to prepare him for this day. And one of the things that I used to tell him all the time, boy, as a black kid, you're going to have to work twice as hard, get there twice as early, and you're going to have to be twice as good, because they're not going to give you a fair shake. And the way that I trained him in that, I made sure he was educated. I made him read books.
Yeah.
Books were punishment material that I used. When he would want to go out, no, you cut up today, get in there and read them books, and let's go over the chapters. Well, that's education.
That information still lives with me to this day.
Education. I made him clean his room. Because creating a discipline to clean your room is really not cleaning. It's not about cleaning your room. I was trying to teach him how to develop responsibility and take care of his business. And I will say, he's taking care of his business. I would not let him talk back. I would ask him questions. As soon as he answered, tell him to shut up. Why? Because that's what society gives us. What?
Nah, definitely. Nah, it was just kind of funny. I was just laughing.
Yeah. Answer me. Shut up. Because that's what society was. So my parenting style, what I had in mind is I wanted him to grow up and be somebody. I didn't want him to be a statistic. I did not want him to fall at the hands having to plead to the mercy of the courts. And I wanted to let him know that life is not fair. And being black in America, you will never get fair treatment. You won't get equality.
Yeah, I know. You look for it.
So what are some of the things as a father? So let me tell you my concern.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I believe I've done as much as I could to put in you the things that are necessary for you to survive, you need to know. You 24?
Yeah, I'll be 25 in October.
Boy, you old.
I know. I'm almost an OG. I'm almost.
Ugh.
I'm almost.
I'm 29, and it does not change. But even though you're 24, you're a grown man. You got your own stuff. You got your own place. You got your own things. You have your own car. As a father, I still, there are nights when I'm up praying that wherever you are, wherever your sister is, that God will keep you.
And the prayers of the righteous availeth much.
And there's a fear, even with faith, that every black man in America that has a son, has a black child, that we've got to learn to live with that shouldn't be. And that is a system that is designed to protect, forces its hands, and at the hands of those who've been assigned to protect, you can lose your life. Talk about that a little bit.
Can you elaborate like a little bit more?
Oh, so Monica says, so he respected the father position. He did. He didn't have a choice. Now, let me say this. So growing up, he didn't have a choice but respect it. No. There was no other way. We ain't compromising. Now, as a grown man, he has a choice. And there's nothing I can do.
Cuz, what's good?
So, what up, Terrell? So, as a child, Tina, he didn't have a choice. And I had to show him who his daddy was. How old were you when we locked up?
I think I was about 18.
Were you 18?
Yeah, I
thought you were about 16, 17.
No, I was 18. It was right after, because my birthday was late. I remember it. My senior year in high school.
Do you remember what happened?
I remember exactly what happened.
Listen.
Play by play.
We tore the room up. We busted the window. We broke the table. I'm slinging him. And it's what I think every male at your age, raised like you're raised, goes through. He had reached the age where
I had enough.
He had had. Now, he thought that my style of parenting was bullying.
Definitely. And
Talk about it.
And in hindsight, I kind of see a little bit more why it was like that. But in it, you don't be thinking about that. You just be like, hey man, why you tripping? why you tripping? Now I'm just trying to live. I just want to be happy.
And he wasn't a bad kid.
Yeah, it just I was very rambunctious, but a lot of that is me being bored with these, just different things like something as simple as going to school 8 hours a day, essentially like learning nothing, like not like
same stuff I went through.
Yeah, and now even then in that situation, hindsight's 20/20. Like school teaches you how to do the busy work and still, get what you need to do throughout that. It puts you on the schedule. I wish I would have took it a little bit more serious. But that dynamic, the father, like, he demanded his respect, and it made me respect others. Like in any situation, I give you the ultimate respect until I feel slighted and disrespected.
And the one thing that I've always gotten from people that you've been around in the music industry, people that you've been around in church, in business.
And I never said he was the greatest rapper. I said he's one of the greatest artists of our generation. It's more than rap.
So
it's the whole
So
concoction.
Jazzy, they need to know what you're talking about. So Jazzy, y'all, Jazz is family. She said, you did an excellent job. He does great, except for him thinking that Drake is the greatest rapper.
And y'all, Jazzy don't even listen to Drake. I gave her homework to listen to that Take Care album. She probably never did it. I feel like if she listened to that album, she'll understand everything I'm talking about.
So from his perspective growing up, I was a bully as a dad. I was always tripping about something, and I wouldn't give him his space. But you got to understand, he was a kid. So raising him, I had already experienced racial injustice in the workplace. I was overlooked for several positions in corporate America, not because I wasn't qualified, because I was black. I'd already been pulled over by the police several times at gunpoint, not because I broke the law, because I didn't, because I was black.
Mm-hmm.
I had already experienced, I never forget when I got a big promotion and I became the VP of one of the largest banks in America. And when I became the VP at that bank, I never forget them basically telling me, we gave you this position because we needed basically a black face. So there were sacrifices that I had to make to keep my job, to keep food on the table for him and his sister, to try and take care of my family. I had to bite my tongue. There were a lot of people I wanted to swing on. I wanted to slit their throat. I wanted to fight. So I had a lot of pinned up hostility with being black in America. Now I got to go home and raise them to navigate through our world intelligently, so they don't lose opportunity, because opportunity is not large when you're colored.
It's a fixed game.
So now I've got to raise him to get ready for a world that hates him. And he thought it was bullying, and it wasn't bullying. But the thing that he told me, I never forget the day he said it. When he got older, the nephew is on, David Edward Richardson. What up, boy? When he got older, he came to me and he says, I see it was necessary. I see what you were doing was necessary. That didn't necessarily mean everything that I did was necessary, because I was also a young man growing into the wisdom that I gained. But he was saying, I see why you were so hard on me. And he thanked me for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't change a thing.
Talk about that.
I wouldn't change a thing. So what exactly am I talking about again?
Well.
See, he's a talker, y'all. He's real good at that. He knows how to. I kind of be having to have a, put it out there for me. Give me a subject. Put it.
Well, the day that you recognize that the things, how I raised you, some of the things I did for you, how it worked for your good. How is it paying off now?
Oh yeah, basically just how I move, how I see things, being able to like assess different situations and get out of there before things could have really went another way, because of always in my head, reading the room in a sense, having to see like, okay, what type of day this gonna be, what kind of, because I wouldn't say I was a bad child, but
Rhonda Michael Moore, good to see you. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
You wouldn't say you were a bad child.
I wouldn't say I was a bad child, but I had a lot of time to to kind of think to myself, and because both my parents worked growing up, so like working middle class America, especially, you know, he was a musician too, on top of, you know, having corporate jobs. So a lot of times, you know, we was on the go, like in services or rehearsals, you know, like. So a lot of times, you know, everybody had a job to do. It's little old me, you know, sitting there with my thoughts, trying to figure out what I'm gonna get into today. and it's crazy. And Slick kind of made me slick too. Cause you gotta know when you can push those buttons.
Yeah.
You gotta know when to push the envelope and when you can pull back. Cause I think I got that a lot from you too. Like, I was dealing with that growing up. Like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. It's just it's about me figuring out how I'm gonna do what I want to do with
How I'm gonna get it done.
yeah, with the least amount of casualties to my, you know, idealized way of living. I didn't like beatings. I don't like nobody whooping me and I can't do nothing about it. I remember one time that hurt me to my soul.
I remember one time, I think you were 10 or 11, and I beat him with a belt, and he looked at me like, bruh, if I was big enough, I'd take you out. And I looked at him like, nigga, I wish you was big enough so you could try. Let's talk about some of the things that you're a skillful musician. Mm-hmm. You've played for some of the largest churches in the city. Mm-hmm. You have music work done. Mm-hmm. Getting checks from artists. Jaquise is one of them. Mm-hmm. For the song that you wrote, produced. On his album, you're scoring music for some of the top people in the industry. Mm-hmm. How do you believe your vision to get stuff done, because you're not lazy? Mm-hmm. What, last night stayed up all night?
Yeah.
Didn't even sleep working on music?
Yeah, I didn't sleep about 2 o'clock today.
That work ethic does not just come to you. Mm-hmm. How did you get it?
Well, you know, like I was saying, being on the go, I had time to myself to kind of like figure out what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And I realized early on, because of like some of the books you made me read, one in particular, it was by Dr. Miles Monroe, Maximizing Your Full Potential. Mm. I realized early on, if I wanted to be good at anything or be successful and be the type of all-around kind of cat that I'm trying to do now, like, I need to
Y'all
live.
use cat? Is that back end?
It's, you know, yeah. It's it's a cycle. It ain't nothing linear. Don't nothing go out.
It's good. Go
it's
ahead.
all go around. But yeah, Blue, what's good, bro? I appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate
real,
that,
man.
Blue.
You gold. I seen them shots you got this week, man. That was definitely captured the time and like dope shots for real. What was I saying? Of the book, Maximizing Your Full Potential, by Dr. Miles Monroe. So that was from an early age, I always knew that, all right, whatever I do, I gotta live in it. Mm-hmm. Like point blank period. And it was the work ethic I have, or I realized that, especially in corporate America, working world, and I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't spoiled. So when I wanted things, above and beyond, Christmas, and you know what I'm saying, I had to figure out how I was gonna get it. Like I used to hit people up, man. Can I cut your grass? Can I, you know what I'm saying? Can I work with my granddaddy? A whole summer for about $5 an hour in that baking sun.
Yeah. Because
I needed some cymbal stands or stuff. Trying to invest in what I wanted to do as a musician, and I developed a habit of basically getting what I needed out of situations to get me the separation I needed to go where I wanted to go. And like I said, sitting at home, reading different books, having conversations, and then a lot of times, like, I was talking to Corey, not to Uncle Corey, about a couple weeks ago, and he kind of brought to my mind, like, a lot of times it wasn't even stuff that I was consciously making decisions about. Just being around cats that was operating at a high level, doing the different type of things that we're doing. Like, I was right there in the rehearsals for, Troy Sneed intro, live recordings and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I was literally right there. So I was soaking that in without even, like, realizing it, for real. So all that played a part in, like, who I am now. Because now when I go in the situation, like, I know, like, all right, if we're going to do this track, we're going to do this song, I understand every musician may not have the same understanding or the musical background and IQ that I may have. So what I need to do, if I'm a music director or a minister of music or whatever the job requires me to do at that point, I need to break that song down to its simplest form. Understand, I may not be able to play every instrument, but I need to understand each instrument's function and putting it out that way. And that's not something I ever, like, practiced, but just how I grew up, what I've been around, you know what I'm saying, it came on me. I caught the bug.
Yeah, what we tried to do for him, I think he wasn't even one. And we noticed that he was beating on everything. We drop him off to his great-grandmother's on his mom's side. She keep him during the day. At this time, he was the only child. And he would beat on everything with his hands. So what we did is we got him something to beat on at the house. We didn't get him a drum set yet. I think he could have been 10, 11 months. We pick him up. He's still in diapers. And he's beating on his great-grandmother's pots with pins. And he can't even talk. And he's making sounds with his mouth. Well, that told us, it painted to us, all right, he's a musician. We knew that. We knew it early on. So from there, what we began to do is cater to what we saw. I didn't know exactly what he was going to play or if he was going to sing or even do both. So what we did is we bought him for his first birthday. There was this microphone. I hate him to this day.
Had
this
me a
microphone and speaker.
Little verb on it and everything.
Had reverb on it. We bought him a little small toy drum set. He's one. And it tormented me every night.
And I ain't mean to cut you off.
No, you go ahead.
I just kind of wanted to tie everything in with the title. Everything we talking about right now helped me to learn how to make my money and stay out the way. Because America hate us. I want y'all to remember that. Like,
no, she does.
Like, it wasn't set up for us to win, be successful here. A lot of people still see us with barcodes on our head being auctioned out and sold. It's, what they give us is because they giving it to us because they making 10 times that off us.
I was talking to Train. I was talking to A-Train.
Understand.
And
$1 million check, they making billions.
Train said something to me that just so profound. And I want to go back to how we put you in those environments. For what we could not give you hands-on, we put you in a environment to develop.
Yeah.
Train said to me, T, they had to make laws for us to be treated equally.
Humane.
You gotta write a law to do what you were created innately to do? In other words, there is a government in your heart without being taught, without being instructed,
Mm-hmm.
You have an innate ability to know right from wrong. Him and his sister, both of them had this thing when they couldn't get their way. They take 3-4 steps back and just fall. Nobody taught them that. They came here with that. We came here knowing right from wrong.
And you know, right and wrong is right and wrong. Is black and white. At the same time, is perception based. See, the issue is because of how we're raised, how we grow up, what we seen, our perception throughout life. Even before now, you develop your own sense of righteousness based off of who you are.
But that's based on perception. Is based on influence. It's based on environment.
And that's what I'm saying. Going back to the beginning, what were we in America? Laborers. We came over here to work outside, and that mentality that's been imprinted in generations throughout generations.
But the point
of people.
The point I'm trying to make is innately we know right from wrong, and you have to bypass what comes natural in order for you to adopt something outside of what comes natural to you. In other words, there are all things I have to bypass to do something wrong. When I'm getting ready to get into something, I've gotten in some stuff. There are signals that are raised in me that I have to drive by to do whatever wrong I want. And my problem with America is,
but you have a strong moral compass too. A lot of black people, I believe we are a gracious people. It was one awards show I saw Prince. He was accepting an award, and he said black people we're gracious people. We win at a fixed and rigged game, and first thing we do is thank God. A lot of people don't have that, especially in America. And it's like they done spend so much time, I guess babysitting their ideologies and basically convincing themselves that their way of living is the right
justify
way. They literally justify.
So by the time they get there, and that's the point that I was making, by the time they get to where he's talking about, they done bypass all kind of truth. They set up their own ideology within the circumference of their own soul to justify why they have to do what they do. But they done bypassed all truth. The more truth you pass, the more evil you become. And it gets to the point where inside of your soul you have set up your own government of righteousness. This is why America could trade slaves and rape black women, kill black men, and not have a conscience for it, and do it in the name of God. Listen, slave owners were Christians who we call America's forefathers. They were believers. And George Washington, who wasn't the first president, but that's who they give the credit to. George Washington, they give him the credit for being the first president. He died of VD from sleeping with a black woman who had been passed around. Thomas Jefferson had a slave quarter in his home and had a secret tunnel in his house because he would go from his house to sleep with these slaves and then sell them in auction. And they are Christians. They wrote the Constitution. Christian. America is justified by Christianity. And according to them, they are Christians. And they can treat humanity this way. Well, I don't believe they were Christians then, and I don't believe they're Christians now, and I don't believe that America is a Christian nation. I'm like Malcolm X.
Absolutely.
We didn't fall on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock fell on us.
Absolutely not. And it's one of them things like the more wrong you do, the more you justify your wrongs. That eventually that lust, that greed, whatever that evil thing is,
grows in you.
It grows and it consumes you, and that's all you are. Literally, that's all you are. That's all you got to hang on to. And we really seeing now more than ever that that same evil spirit is hiding in the ones that smile and be buddy with you, and it's like, oh, that's what you thought about me the whole time too.
Exactly. Your heart's being exposed. And one of the things that, and I want to drive now to our end, to the whole point. I wanted to give you an idea how he was raised, how we set him up. His mom and I, my parents, his grandparents on his mom's side, great grandparents on his mom's side, his great grandparents on my side, his great grandparents on my side, because he don't remember her, but my great grandmother, Mother Sarah Hall Moore, laid hands on him, held him, prayed over him. My grandmother, Ella Watson, Mary Haynes, my grandmama Mary Haynes, prayed over him. They prayed over me. So he comes through a lineage of faith and mistakes. But he didn't just become this young man that he is by accident. And even though I believe, with the help of my uncles and aunts, my parents, my uncle just popped on, Russell Williams.
That's good, huh?
Thanks. That's my uncle. They had hands, and it's like he's come through a lot of hands, a lot of prayers, a lot of faith. And I don't live in fear, but there are times when I am afraid for his life. You remember that time? Let's tell him about that story. When we coming from the radio station, it was me, you, and Victoria. You were driving. That's when you had your gray car, that Sonata.
Yeah.
And we were on Phillips Highway.
Yeah, I got pulled over.
He got pulled over. Immediately, when I saw the police pulling us over, I got a snitch on him. He starts getting mad. We don't know why he's pulling us over. And I told him, boy, chill out. You don't even know what he's pulling you over. Yeah, but I hate this. Where did that hate come from? He had experienced something already. How old were you, 19?
Yeah, probably like 19 or 20.
19, 20. He's driving. I'm in the passenger seat. His sister is in the back seat. Now, my mind, being pulled over by this police, in my mind, I don't care who's right and wrong. It's not a right and wrong issue for me. In my mind, I need to get my son and my daughter home safe.
And it was around, I want to say it was probably about 12:45, maybe.
It was late at night.
I was definitely ready to get in my bed. And that is, I'm like, man, you holding me up.
So he's got an attitude. We don't know why the police is pulling us over. I'm thinking as a father. He's thinking defensively because he doesn't know. And that's not a bad thing. So I'm telling him, hey, chill out. You don't know why he's pulling us over. When he comes to the car, make sure he sees your hands. Don't make any quick moves. And be compliant. Yeah, but I hate this, Dad. I hate it too. I'm thinking about getting us home. Police comes over.
And really just kind of let me go. So in a sense,
it was so smooth. White cop.
Yeah, it was a white cop.
Asked him.
He really had to pull me over.
What did he say? Was it an illegal lane change or?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know, cause thing is, I saw that police car driving down Phillips Highway, rolled right past me. It wasn't until I was stopped at a red light, he got behind me. When the red light turned green and I made that turn, like off of Phillips, headed to JTB to get home to Southside Boulevard. He just turned on his lights out of nowhere. And I'm like, yo, I know I'm not speeding right now. I've been stopped for 2.5 minutes. And it was one of them things, I know he probably just, he's trying to see what's going on. Like on some, like, he got 10 on his car. What he doing this late at night? And, you know, granted, in my mind, I had every right to be upset because I did nothing wrong. But I shouldn't have showed it. I don't agree. I shouldn't have showed it.
I don't agree. Here's why, and
he won't ever agree because
I will never agree with him. And this is one of the things we did. We talked about this on radio.
Yeah.
The reason I say he doesn't have a right to be upset, you don't know why he's pulling you over.
I mean, but if I'm a law-abiding citizen,
But you don't know why he's pulling you over.
My tag was registered.
But you don't know why he's pulling you
all
over.
my tail lights was fixed.
So
I was not speeding.
conceptually,
I had on my seatbelt.
Conceptually speaking.
And what happened? He pulled me over. And that's to say, I can't even remember like what he literally let me go, because once he ran my tag, my information at that time, I had like no speeding tickets. I ain't had like nothing. So it was I don't even remember what he said. Like,
I remember what he said.
Cause I just knew it was like, man, you just trying to see what's going on, and
so it's two sides of this.
I just feel like it's real crime going on out here. I was just trying to get home and go to sleep.
I don't disagree with him because it's two sides. I can understand him being upset because in his mind, he hasn't broken the law. My thing is, before you draw any conclusion, get all the facts. That's the position that I had then, and that's the position that I have now.
That's
before you draw a conclusion, get the facts.
And that's kind of what I was like. It's a rigged game, and I'm realizing more and more that you gotta play the game.
Well, not just play the game. You gotta think ahead.
Think ahead and play the game.
So him being pulled over, what I want to know from the officer, what we do. What he said was, the officer said, you changed lanes. You didn't put your.
What's good, man?
You didn't put your blinker on. Wes, what up, bro? Terry Brown. To my boy, what is this? Ain't no boys on here. Boys a white race of words, and I prefer you call us by our name. Ain't no boys on here. And the only boys I know is white boy and a cowboy. So sticking to the topic, because I think
pray all is well, man.
This is you talk about the one on the right is right. He's such a hater. They said he changed lanes without putting his blinker on, without putting his signal on, which that's a bunch of bull to me. So he was going south, we were going north, and you saw whether he put his signal on. No, but here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Yeah, I know.
You got every reason to be upset for that, but you didn't know that till he said that. My thing is, what happens with black men in America?
But I know I didn't break the law. That's all I was saying.
I feel you. What happens but technically you did, because you're supposed to put your signal on before you change lanes. That's why he pulled you over.
Yeah.
So you did break the law.
And that's another thing. This system is so nuanced. Traffic laws are there to provide structure and safety. It's 12:45, 1 o'clock. There's nobody on the road.
So it's two sides again.
I'm trying to get home. And
I believe with all my heart that was a bunch of crap.
It was.
He should not have pulled you over. However, when being pulled over by the police in the day that we live in, it's not about who's right, who's wrong. It's about making it to the house. So I'm telling him, watch your posture. Be polite.
Yeah.
It's not about whether you're right or wrong, because in the eyes of the law, you're wrong because you're black. It's a crime being black in America. Mm-hmm. And what pisses me off to no end, it's a crime being black in America. And I'm going to say this to those of you in the Church of Jesus Christ. It's too many black preachers that aren't preaching and teaching on survival, but you want to preach and teach gospel. The gospel means nothing if I'm not alive to live it.
No facts. A lot of y'all got y'all security details and, your six-figure fortress, and you kind of out of touch with what really kind of goes on day to day.
Totally out of touch. There's a church on Beaver Street. I've not heard him say anything. Ain't you? You ain't me.
I didn't know.
I ain't heard him say nothing about anything going on. And I think that's wrong. You have to speak out and use your influence, because enough pressure on the system will cause it to collapse. So we got to hit it from every side. I said it.
But what I don't want to do, and I think I made a post about this the other day. This is
lower your voice. You play so much. You play so much.
I don't want us to get the causes intertwined. I know it's some black people that's about themselves, some straight up coons and Uncle Tom. But at the end of the day,
Southern Baptist Convention fuels they fire.
Oh my gosh! At the end of the day, this is the betterment of all our people. He's still a part of us. He's still a part of us.
It's not. It's not. If you don't speak up for us, defend us, you're not with us, you're not for us. And when it happens to you, you'll feel how we feel. One of the problems is they've not been exposed to it. They're not affected by it, so they believe that they can evaluate it.
But what I'm saying, what I'm trying to say in that situation.
Hey, Mama Cole.
Because
Mama Cole on.
Hey, Mama Cole, how are you? And in situations like that, you work hard to get to a certain point, and essentially it's the same thing. It's you either
Go ahead. No, you good.
Okay. You either you comply and we let you live, or you revolt. You ruffle feathers and we end you. You know what I'm saying? I understand that dynamic is there too, because especially a lot of people who dive head first into their work and don't. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
whitewash. That's whitewash. And
but
I
what
understand
it's whitewash.
You ain't diving head nose in no work. But you ain't dumb. What happens is you around white people, fuel you, they fund you, so you refuse to speak out against anything that's going to hinder your money. Those are facts.
But what I'm saying is, in that same situation, you employ people. That, you know what I'm saying? It's people directly responsible for that check that they're giving you, that you playing the game for. That's what I'm saying. Like the whole system is rigged because it shouldn't be that way. As a people, we should have our own bank. We should have our own support system to where we wouldn't even have to do that. But in a sense, I got to do the same thing. I'm just not as
I don't believe
as you know as and certain things I just never do because I'm just a man of my own principles. But I don't put who I am on nobody else. And I said all that to say is at the end of the day, I'm here for our people. If you're African American, I want to see you win, and I want to see you help others. Cause it's a disconnect. They did a good job at keeping all us separated and making us fend for ourselves with individualism. And it's divide and conquer. That's all it is. Divide and conquer.
So we have to come together.
We got to. That's the only way we'll.
One of the things that I think we talked about this yesterday. Mm-hmm. That I told him he has an advantage that most people don't have. Mm-hmm. He has a father who has a voice. He has a father who cares. He has a father that understands. One thing him or his sister will ever be able to tell you is their daddy ever sat in a position of judgment towards anything that they did, whether I agreed with it or not. I don't even give my opinion to them a lot. I let them talk, and I try and give them wisdom and advice. But whatever decisions they make, it's on them. I've done my part. I'm here to continue my part because I don't think being a father ends at 18. I believe fatherhood is the rest of his life. When I'm dead, then he has to live off of the wisdom that I instilled in him by memory. He's going to have that guide the rest of his life. And there are a lot of things that he do I don't necessarily agree with, but that's my son. Him being my son, I try and educate him, get him to see another side. Definitely. Remember the situation we talked about yesterday? We're on the Buckman Bridge. I'm gonna type it so you can see it, so I don't have to expose. You know what I'm talking about?
I can't remember. I'm sorry. It's been a long night. Oh yeah.
All right. So there was a situation that happened to him, and no, he his perspective of it was great.
Mm-hmm.
It really was great. But I said to him, hey, your perspective is great and you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to consider the source. You have to look at all sides. You have to look at all angles. And as a result of the source and the angles, here is something else you should consider.
My facts. And one thing, because I thought about it after we talked about it, and one thing I kind of want to say in regards to that situation is, a lot of times I say what I need to say, even considering what could come from it, because at the end of the day, I need you to know where I stand.
That's good.
I need you to know where I stand, regardless of how you feel about it when it comes to certain things. And even then, I'll tie it in a way to where I'm still giving you all the respect you deserve and that you merit. But at the same time, I'm gonna stand on what I believe in, and I'm not gonna tuck my tail. When I believe.
I mean, I like that about you.
And it's, because I'm a hustler. I'm a figure out a way to the best of my abilities, and oftentimes sometimes you gotta say stuff not for what you get out of it. Cause granted, I may have burned the bridge, but he might think about it for the next person that comes in my same position. When the situation come up again, and the same kind of thing happens, he might just say, well, hey, maybe maybe I need to change my approach a little bit, and that's what we got to realize too. Like sometimes people, you might have to die to I guess
be the soil for somebody else's come up.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say in so many words.
So
they might not get it the first time.
So I want to give 3 points real quick on having a black son that America hates. Having a black son that America hates requires you as a black father to go above and beyond the call of duty when raising your son. That's point number 1. Point number 2, your job as a father does not end because they are grown.
Mm-hmm.
Your position as a father changes, but your job remains.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is how we started,
mm-hmm.
wherein I used to give orders to him, tell him what to do. Now I go to him for advice. Hey, what you think about this? What you think about?
And suggest.
Pastor, I could feel the presence of God during the time of prayer. Thank you for your life in Christ Jesus. God was truly a blessing on. Y'all, that's my older brother, Jeffrey McIntyre, clowning. But I'm not gonna say I do respect my older brother. That's my biological brother. That's my older brother. I do respect him. So I'm not gonna say what I'm thinking, but excuse me. One of the things that we have to do is change our position.
Mm-hmm.
I go to him for advice. I go to him for different things that I think I need.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when I need a second ear. I need a second opinion. I go to him. Here's why. I trust what God has grown in him based on the seed and the fertilizer that myself, his mom, our families have sown in him. I trust the God that controls the harvest so much that I don't think he can lead me wrong. And every time I've gone to him for advice, I've gotten some wisdom and a view to see it like I didn't see before. So my last point is, in fatherhood, fathering a black son in America, it's going to require us to know when to speak and know when to be quiet. There's sometimes he's speaking, I got to close my mouth because he has the wisdom in some areas that I don't have. It doesn't slight me in my position as his dad. Mm-hmm. It increases me and makes me better as a dad. And then there are some times as a son, even though he's grown, he's gone, he does it his way, he has to yield and listen to the wisdom of his father. And I think when we listen to each other, we go further.
Facts.
Anything else you want to say before we?
No, I'll just reiterate that last point, communication is key. Understanding each other, and understand that you may bump heads there, and that's one thing I was saying about, you know, in regards to the betterment of our people, we may not agree with each other at all for the most part. Mm-hmm. But when we understand that it takes a village and a community, and, you know, the common denominator has to be love and appreciation of what each individual has to offer. When we got that, even if we're not seeing eye to eye at the moment, we keep trying, we keep pushing it, and one day that understanding will open up. Because sometimes, literally, I know growing up, he would tell me everything I needed to hear, but I didn't understand it until somebody else said it. That's, you know, and at that point, he'd been saying it, but that seed took root.
So it's not just good for you to be the advisor. You also have to keep these kids in environments where they can learn the same lessons and hear a different voice. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for your monthly support to Coffee Time. The Cash App is on the screen. Those of you that support us, we appreciate you. We're doing greater things by the grace of God, by the help and love of the support of the people. For that, I'm grateful. I got to thank the homie for coming on with me.
Oh, anytime.
We're going to do more. There's a lot we have to say, and we need your support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking time out of your day to hear what we have to say. Hopefully we've said something that have caused your heartstrings to grow, wisdom to increase, but most importantly, know, even though America hates us, we still have a job of purpose to do, and it's your responsibility to finish your assignment and do what he's called you to do, and not allow the distractions to hinder you. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. That's Terrence speaking live. Y'all have a good night. We love you. Thanks for listening. And always remember to think higher.
Speak life.